Okay, I'm waiting for the click. I am waiting for the click. It hasn't happened yet. There's the click. Now, I'm not sure if you guys can hear me, so bear with me for 1 second. I have completely changed my computers around, and I am trying to figure this stuff out. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Okay, there it is. It's very low. My sound is, I don't know what it is with this computer. The sound is very low, and I don't have the extension to it that usually would make it, bigger. So please forgive me. But I've completely changed my computer situation around. I put the computer that I built into my middle room where I do all my stuff, and then I moved the all-in-one computer with this one with the better camera, the more modern computer, into the little den area where the kitchen is behind me. As you guys see that, and you guys can see the blue screen up there that I use sometimes if I'm on here. So just testing all this stuff out, making sure that the printers are online. I can print from my phone and all the different aspects, that I need because Donovan is getting out of here. Donovan is getting the hell out of here, and I am preparing. So welcome, you guys. It's me, Donovan Sadiq. It is 11:26 in the morning. I was supposed to be cutting some trees this morning, but I woke up at 7 this morning. Well, I woke up at 5. I always wake up at 5 o'clock. And I went back to sleep, woke up 2 hours later. The damn dog is laying on my leg, so I didn't want to get up and disturb him. And Beanie's right here, by the way. He's laying down right here. But supposed to go out and do the trees, right? Got up at 7, opened the door, and it was hot as hell. So I said, oh, no, I'm not going out right now. So my pomegranate tree looks like a bush because I'm not cutting the bottoms of it as the things come out. So I'll get to it. But, sooner or later I'm going to get to it. It's not going to be hot forever. So let's get to it, you guys. Let's talk about it. How many of you guys have heard about this spaceship that is coming in a trajectory toward Earth? How many of you guys have heard about that? I heard about that maybe like a couple of weeks ago. And, being a person who went to Embry-Riddle, ski-wee, Embry-Riddle, and a person who has a degree in aeronautics, that's my specialty, of my 12 degrees, half of them are in aeronautics, okay? Half of my 12, so 6 of my 12 is aeronautics, be it mechanics, technician, pilot, however you call it. So aeronautics, flying. So I looked at and researched some of the facts of that, and I said, wow, it's possible. It's possible. How many of you guys actually believe we are the only species in the universe? And if you believe that, more power to you if you believe that. I just don't believe that. We are finding every day still on this planet new species that we thought were either extinct or just brand new. Remember, they say what? 5% of the ocean has been explored. So there's all kinds of stuff that is happening that we don't know anything about. So, spaceships. Now, the United States government has now admitted, Project Blue Book has admitted that, yeah, we're being monitored by alien creatures, right? So what does it mean if the ship is coming this way and it's supposed to be here in November, right? It's supposed to be 12 miles long. It's a huge thing. It's supposed to be here by November. So what does that mean for us? Are these aliens going to come here and want to share their technology with us? Because the military, you want to see the technology. Are they going to be opening arms and stuff? All of this racism that we have on this planet. See, this is going to show and prove how we are as a people. Oh, look at it. There's my mama cat right there. Misty! 17 years old, you guys. She is an old cat. She's old. But and I know some of you guys are saying, "Oh my God, the cat's on the countertop." How do you stop it? How do you stop a cat, especially a female one? You can't tell her nothing from walking wherever she wants to walk. You can't. You just have to keep disinfecting and make sure everything is clean. I learned that at home ec back in high school. I got some bleach in one of those bottles up there, and every time you just got to do the whole disinfection stuff. So people freak out. Oh, ah! But anyway, this huge spacecraft is coming. Now, we've seen the movies Independence Day. We've seen aliens. Are these aliens going to come here, and are they going to be hostile? Or are they going to be friendly aliens like E.T. that just, they're just cruising the universe and wanted to stop by and say hello? This is going to show and prove the racism in the world. We're hearing about the caste system in India, right? We're hearing about the racism in the Middle East. We're hearing about the racism in the United States. We're hearing about the racism that is prevalent in the human species. Now, if this mothership is what the scientists are speculating it is, we got to be prepared, right? So as we are deporting illegal aliens and migrants out of our country, are we going to welcome these new aliens? One of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes was To Serve Man. Hey, April Lane, good to see you. Good to see you. No politics. I'm talking about that spacecraft that is on its way here to the planet Earth. We'll be here in November. But my favorite Twilight Zone episode, Twilight Zone from 1959 to 1966, where it was all black and white. Those were the best ones. Every other Twilight Zone inception after that, they all sucked, right? And then all your mega stars that are passing away now started on the Twilight Zone. You can see them all in the Twilight Zone. William Shatner, Robert Redford. Just a whole bunch of stars on there. Jack Warden. You could just go on and on and on and on. Elizabeth Montgomery, Charles Bronson. They were all on the Twilight Zone. So there was an episode called, and we watch it every New Year's Eve during the KTLA Twilight Zone Marathon. And you can see it on Pluto TV. Pluto TV has a Twilight Zone channel, and you can catch it over there if you guys want. But To Serve Man. So these aliens come here, and they're like, hey, we're going to show you guys how to cook your food. There won't be any more wars. You can drop your borders, and we want to do a cross exchange with you. Right? So we'll take some of your people. You could visit our planet, and our people could come and visit your planet. And the alien had this book, right? And the scientists were trying to figure out what was this book. And a lot of you guys already know the plot, so I'm not giving anything away. It's a known thing. The episode was called To Serve Man. And the episode was the fact that the book was a cookbook. And I think The Simpsons did a parody of it as well. Remember the alien thing? And Lisa was like, aha, aha. And they kept blowing the thing off the book. And it was like, oh my gosh, you figured it out. April Lane says, I sure wish it comes on. Planet Earthling needs some sense knocked into them. Yeah. But the question is, are we going to drop our racism toward each other to defend against this alien horde? Now, this is me, April. This is just me personally. If these aliens came here to destroy the planet, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. Don't ask Donovan to, help us defend. Donovan ain't helping. Like I'm doing with these illegal migrants, I'm going to do it with the space aliens as well. However, caveat, Donovan, just like I do for anybody in my community, in my neighborhood, you can do whatever you want off of my property. But when you come onto my property, we are going to have a problem. I am fully armed to defend myself. And I recently was able to buy a nice little load of ammunition, according to the Ninth Circuit Court, that kind of whatever. And I bought some ammunition from the store here, and I always buy ammunition, so I don't know if the bullets will work, but I do know, hey, just like a predator, that alien's going to bleed some fluorescent blood or whatever he's got in him, because I'm just going to just be popping it off. You know what I mean? But my point is this: if this thing is what the scientists think it is, and it is a alien spacecraft, and the government has, Project Blue Book has already said we have been visited by aliens. How many remember those drones? Those drones like in New Jersey, and they were coming up out of everywhere, right? Remember that happened like last year or some earlier this year, whatever it was. So I'm not saying you would have to be a dummy, because I don't want to insult anybody, but you would have to concede there is something going on out there that is more advanced than we are, right? Early 2000, the Navy, right off the coast of San Diego, they actually have video of some kind of saucer that was flying just above the ocean, whatever, near the fleet, whatever it was, and they actually caught that on video. You can look that up on YouTube as well. So there is something out there that is more advanced than we are. So what I'm telling my people is this. Do you guys realize the black community is the most under-defended community in the country? We're the most undefended. Most of our people do not know how to handle weapons. Now, my mom being in the Army, I could throw my mom a weapon and pretty much, she could handle what she needs to handle. But our city girls, not so much. We watch too many movies where we think, oh, I've got a gun and I'll just shoot, and I'm going to hit something. Have you guys seen videos where the person is like right there and the gunman is like shooting them and he's chasing after him and hasn't hit the dude at all? That actually happens. You've got to practice your craft. You just can't go and expect to hit your target. You're most likely going to hit a pedestrian or somebody that you didn't intend to hit, right? So, what I'm saying is, have you noticed that this government always does buyback programs where black people live? Have you guys noticed that? I've never heard of a buyback program in a white neighborhood. Never heard of it. And it has been proven there are more, I wouldn't say illegal guns, but guns that are not registered with the DOJ. You want to know why? In the white neighborhoods? Because those weapons are handed down from generation to generation. So those weapons are not registered with the DOJ. There are more illegal guns in the white, and whatever you think white is, community that is not registered with the DOJ than any community in the United States. That's a fact. The guns that black people do have, Ray Ray and Nook Nook, those guys, those are secondhand type guns that are probably so messed up, you don't know what to do with them. I'm a military person, and I hate cleaning my gun. I hate it, because I've got to disassemble the gun and get all the carbon out and all the residue and stuff to make sure, and oil it and make sure it's good to go. But young hood Negroes, they don't know how to do that. I see some of these guys with guns that they've got the it's so embarrassing. They got the handle taped up. So my point is this: when the alien ship comes here, are we prepared as a people? Even if the United States government said, you know what, all hands on deck, black people, here's a rifle. Help us defend. Do you know how to handle a rifle? Do you know how to load a rifle? I've got a 12 gauge shotgun, home defense in my house, right? Hate using it because of the kickback. I mean, just it pumps me right in my shoulder. Even though there's padding and stuff, it just, the kick in it is not what I'm used to. I don't practice with it much. I mean, I could use it, but I don't practice it with it much. But ladies, if all there was available was a shotgun, are you going to be able to handle it? April says, I'm ready to go with the aliens. I'll be on their side. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I might just go to the aliens and say, Richard Pryor did a stand up on it, and uh, it was just so funny because he was saying that when the aliens come to the planet and they see how the white people treat us and all the other people that have color, the minorities here, they're going to cordon this planet off and say, don't mess with them white folks. Them white folks. Remember in Star Trek, the Thessalonians? Yeah, the people that could do the mind control, and they could make you think like the mountain is blown up and it's really not. And it was called The Menagerie was the episode. It was it was the pilot episode of Star Trek. And remember, they had the aliens that had the mind control. It was so bad that Starfleet put a death warrant on anybody that visited that planet because of their power of mind manipulation. And so I believe when those aliens get here, as they look at the moon and see what's going on and how the white folks are treating the rest of the planet, destroying the planet, they're going to cordon this planet off. They're going to just say, nah, we're good. Them white folks, leave them alone. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, Richard Pryor said in a comedy skit that like alien came down and landed on a farm. And the black people that were like working on the farm said, you better get up off this property. Miss Reynolds ain't going to play that. And the blacks were warning the aliens to get up off this property. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But, that's what the experts are saying. There's an alien spacecraft on the way. And what I've been saying for years into my community, all those liberals, oh, guns are just so dangerous and guns are this and oh my God. No, people are dangerous. A gun is just a tool, no different than a hammer. It's no different than a rake and a shovel. It's no different. It's just a tool. And when those aliens come, it's kind of like my neighbors. I live in a cul-de-sac, right? And I have a lot of liberal neighbors, right? And, these guys are married and their wives are, women just scared, right? Yeah, they're going to be scared until that robber comes in the house and is knocking them in the head. Then she's going to wish the gun was there. I had to tell my neighbor, hey, man, you got to defend your family. To hell with what your wife is saying. I'm not saying cause friction between your wife, but you better go get you a weapon and put it in the garage or something. That would be stupid of you as a man not to have a tool to defend your family. I don't give a damn what my wife would say. She doesn't want it in the house, fine. It's not going to be in the house. Hey, I'm going to be a man, whatever, because when that time comes that I have to use that tool, she's going to be thanking me. Matter of fact, she's going to be thanking me so well, I should be able to get some top with on demand. On demand. She's going to be so thankful. Oh, the Dems heading out of Texas. They ended up doing that a while back, a few years back. It's kind of stupid. See, and everybody's like, it's so racial what they're doing. What they're not telling you is Jasmine Crockett's district, as they redistricted it, right? Because she's in Dallas. They've redistricted it to where black people that voted for the Republicans are now in her district. Even though they moved her out, where she moved into is where a bunch of black people are more Republican. They voted more Republican. They're more conservative. And that is why she's upset at her situation. The Dems have gerrymandered everything on racial lines, which goes against the Constitution. Right here in California, California has been gerrymandered so badly. This is why this is a super Democratic state, and we can't get reparations as black people. Yeah, Houston has been gerrymandered. The city of Houston itself, if you look at the map, it has been gerrymandered. Look at Houston and Dallas compared to the whole state of Texas. That's a Democratic stronghold because there's a lot of black people in Houston. The Democrats' thought pattern was, well, you need black representation, so you need more black people in a district to elect a black representative, right? We see that doesn't work for us because even though we got a black representative now, they ain't doing shit for us. So that's not working, and the Republicans are like, the hell with that, we're going to break all that up. And the Supreme Court's most likely going to overturn it anyway. So it's illegal to gerrymander things based on racial profiling, basically. So that's going to be interesting. But April, I've been looking up on Houston. Oh my God, on YouTube, the STD rates and things that is going on there, and the black women are number one in the demographic of the people catching HIV, gonorrhea, and all those things. What the hell is going on in Houston? You know, very scary down there. I don't even want to go to Houston. I mean, if I go, because I got family and stuff like that, I'll go to visit. But to meet somebody, I'm not heading down there. I mean, and the sad thing about Houston is a lot of people from Atlanta, a lot of the scammers from Atlanta and the East Coast and stuff, they're all coming down to Houston. So you're basically seeing a migration because they're being gentrified out of Atlanta because it's being so expensive, and they're all moving to Houston, just like people from California are moving down there. It's just sad. It's just a sad situation. But, you know, my question, are you guys ready for the aliens that come, if they come? If there was and the way that America is going, if there was a civil war right now, ladies, can you defend your family? 70% of black households are headed by females. How are you going to defend your family? Y'all don't need no black men. You know, and it's kind of crazy too, April. I listen to the most staunch feminists that hate men, but they love their fathers. These are the same women that had fathers in their lives. But they hate men. But that's because their fathers were simps. You know, I was arguing with a dude, a friend of mine, and he was saying, oh, if a dude doesn't treat my daughter the way that I treat her, then, you know, he don't need to be with her. I looked at him and I said, are you fucking your daughter? What? Are you fucking your daughter? Why the hell you say that? Because the relationship a man would have with your daughter is totally different than the relationship she has with her father. So are you fucking your daughter? Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to know. But they don't think. April's like, I'm ready to go. Me too. Me too. So it's just crazy. Yeah. You know, and April, you know, I didn't have my father either because he passed away when I was 5 years old. And, you know, and it's unfortunate. It doesn't mean that, you know, people that don't have their fathers in their life, it's less than. But a male figure is very important in the dynamic of a young person growing up. You got to have some sort of male interaction to grow up. And, you know, my mom being, you know, the woman that she was, she kept my brother and I around positive male role models. And my mom wasn't with the foolishness. She was in the Army. So she wasn't with the foolishness, but we were in the boys' club. We were constantly, my uncles. Well, unfortunately, I was raised, I'm in the same age group as a lot of my uncles, but the ones that were older, she made sure we knew what they were about. We knew my dad's family, and we were exposed to positive role models, and it's very important. And I see a lot of young women that think that having a male in their children's life is not important. It's insignificant. Did you see that video of those young kids that were stealing out of the CVS store? As I listened to those kids talk, and I'm not blaming the kids, as I listened to those kids talk, I heard the mother. I heard the female influence. Because if the father was involved, that wouldn't be going on. And then, I don't know if you saw the follow-up where the big sister was there on TikTok. I saw that video as well. And this is what these kids, young boys, have to deal with. Those young boys are not guilty, okay? Because in law, and I'm not a lawyer, but in law, there's a presumption of knowledge. If you're 7 years old, you're not developed enough to know what you're doing, and that will never be prosecuted, right? So a good example would be like, I'm sleepwalking, and me and my significant other, we got in an argument, and then I'm a sleepwalker, and we didn't resolve the argument. I went to sleep, and I woke up. Well, I didn't wake up, but I started sleepwalking, and I deleted her, right? It would be hard for the court to convict me because I wasn't in my mind. I was asleep. It'd be very hard for a court to convict me. And so those kids, being as young as they are, there's no court that's going to convict them. But where in the rationale did they get the idea it is okay to go into a store, fill your bag up, and walk out? They had to learn that. That's learned behavior. They had to learn that from somebody. April says, was raised by a mean, abusive granny. She raised 6 of us in her house, retired early from Bellevue Hospital to raise us. Yeah, conscious. That's what I meant with the word conscious. Yeah, and the sad thing about you girls, and a lot of women, the feminists don't want to admit this, but when you guys are raised by your moms, it's almost like your moms are in competition with you guys. Because here you are, her daughter, younger, beautiful, depending on your genes. You probably got your dad's genes, and and I've seen a lot of women that are jealous of their daughters, and that's why the mother ends up putting the daughters out in a lot of situations. They use any excuse, because if you think about it, you guys are competing for the same type of men. It's so sad. Look at the women my age that are dressing like they're in their 20s, looking like damn fools. Vivica Fox, 60 years old, got a BBL, and a bad one at that. Who is she competing with? But Vivica Fox and women like her will be the first to tell the younger girl, you don't need no man, you don't need this, you don't need that. But Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, all these women, Cowboy Carter, all of these women, Sierra, are telling you women, you don't need no man, you guys could be single. They're all married. They all are married. Their children have fathers. But they're telling you guys to be single, you don't need no man. Mind control is incredible. It's incredible. Propaganda. They just beat it in your head. But I see a lot of jealousy in the older women toward the younger women. It's crazy to me when I see a 70-year-old woman with tattoos. Tattoos have always been there, but I'm talking about she's got tattoos on her this and on her neck and stuff, and I'm thinking, what the fuck's wrong with you? Because these kids that are younger, thank goodness I'm not going to be around to see all this, but if they live to be in their 70s and 80s, those are going to be some ugly ass people. If that was my grandmother or my great-grandmother and I had to look at her, oh my God, I would be afraid. And now they're tatting their faces. How are you a beautiful woman? The number one asset of a woman, a girl, is her beauty. But yet these girls keep saying, I want a man with six figures and a high value man. Show me a high value man that's walking around with a woman that has a bunch of tattoos on her body. Jeff Bezos' wife, his new wife, she's an older woman, oh, uh, this AI thing scared the crap out of me. Um, um, Jeff Bezos' wife, as old as she is, yeah, she got some plastic surgery and stuff, but I don't see any tattoos on her. Because men are visual, right? We're visual, and women got to understand that, and women don't want to understand that. It's just crazy. So yeah, but Vivica's got a bad BBL. It's terrible. Yeah, I mean, and people look at me. I don't have any tattoos. I don't have any tattoos. Number one, I'm scared of needles, but I'm not scared of needles enough to where I don't get my vaccinations. I just went to my medical appointment yesterday. Man, I got stuck like I was a pin cushion. I'm talking about that all up here. Well, it's this arm here. I mean, they just did all the back of the muscle, all of that. And I was just like, oh my God. And then they drew like 10 vials of blood from me. And it's I wasn't ready. But I'm one of those people, I do what I need to do. I hate needles. I hate the dentist. But I go. When they put that needle in the gum, oh my God, I just, But anyway. But high value men, they don't look for women that have tattoos. They just don't. And I don't know why women don't want to listen to men in regards to what they want. If I was a high value man and I'm telling you I don't like tattoos, why would you get a tattoo? So I'll give you a better example, April. Everybody knows I don't like weave. Most black men that have sense will tell you they don't like weave. We tell you women that constantly. We don't like weave. We don't like wig. We don't like any of that because for me, I'm only speaking for myself, that tells me a woman has a mental issue, self-esteem problem. That's a self-esteem problem in my opinion, right? I'll give you an example, right? I'm the black Yul Brynner. I'm bald-headed, right? Nice and bald. If I put a wig on that with straight hair and it's orange, would you date me? Would you date me? If I put a little toupee on, white man toupee, white man coarse hair, and I came up to you and said, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Don. I'm Don. Having a good time. Are you doing good? Can I buy you a drink?" Right? You would be laughing in my face because I look like a clown. What do you think high value men think? Yeah, and you're one of the women that are real. You're a real woman. You don't look for high value because it's superficial. Exactly. But look at these women nowadays. We have made these women basically into whores. Because the relationship is transactional. Look at these shows, Kendra G. These women are on there with children. Oh, Kendra, I got 3 children by 2 different men. And you're on a show looking for a high value man and you just disclose that? It's crazy. I mean, it's lunacy. April says, "You're very attractive as you are." I'd definitely be laughing. Yeah, most women would. That would be the reaction most women would give. Like, Negro, what? Are you serious? No. See, men, we have to accept rejection. We have to accept ridicule. We have to go through these things. And see, it's like those young boys that were caught stealing. You could see the feminine traits that they've picked up from the women around them, mostly their mother. When I was growing up, it was not unusual for boys to get yelled at by the PE coach. and nobody broke down and cried. It's just something you just did. You just got yelled at, and you went through it. The school bully, that's just something you got to go through, because it's going to teach you life lessons as you get older. I'm not going to take no shit. You know what I mean? But I have to accept I'm only going to be 5'10". There's only 13% of the American population that is males that are over 6 feet. The median income of most black men that work is $43,000 a year. These women have to stop watching these Atlanta Housewives and these BS shows. And then you look at the Atlanta Housewives, they're all broke. All of them. It's crazy. It's crazy. But see, as a man, when I say that, I'm attacking women. How are you supposed to? Okay, you're going to college to learn a skill, a trade, right? You want to be a psychologist. How do you learn to be a psychologist if the instructor that's teaching the psychology class is the auto shop teacher? If you want to be a pilot in the airline, are you taught by a mechanic? You can be for the ground school part, but no, you're taught by another pilot. You've got to be taught by somebody who is in the field, right? So as a man, if you're asking me, Donovan, what has been, I'll give you my opinion from my point as a man, because I am one. Doesn't mean I'm 100% right, because my experience is a lot different than, a lot of black men here in the United States, because I wasn't raised here in the United States. My formative years. My teenage years, I was raised overseas. But I hear women constantly telling men what we should think, how we should think, and it's ridiculous. But I'm a misogynist. Oh my gosh, you're a misogynist. You just hate women. What? I love women. I'm heterosexual. What are you talking about? I am super machismo. It's crazy. It's crazy. But as a man, like, I'm on this show and I'm telling you about a spacecraft that is coming toward Earth. You guys have until November to arm yourselves. You have until November. The good thing about you guys, April, is in Texas, you can walk into the store right now and walk out with the weapon, pretty much, I guess. I don't know how the rules here. Here in California, you got to jump through a bunch of hoops. You might not even get the weapon because your name is crossed with somebody else, and it's going to be a whole bunch of... It's tyranny here in California. It's tyranny. So anyway, guys, let me get out of here. I got some errands to run. Got some really bad news yesterday in regards to my health. It is what it is. And I'm just gonna. April, I love your emojis and stuff. I'm just gonna stay positive, because there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. I was there and the doctor was like, you look really good, but just because you look a certain way doesn't mean it's so. So we're going to do some alternative stuff. I am at my wit's end. I like to come on here to get my mind, to talk about different things, rather than sitting by myself and feeling sorry for myself, or getting into a depressed mode, because that's not me. I'm not going to be depressed. I've always said this, and this is what I tell people. It's about your attitude. Think about it. Your brain controls all of your functions in your body, right? If you're sitting there, oh, me, that negativity is going to go down into your body, and things aren't going to function the way you want them to function, and things like that. Right? Roasted dandelion root tea and moringa tea. Try it. Yeah. And I've had the moringa tea. So, I've got all that great stuff. Trust me. Um, but even though I've done all of the stuff I'm supposed to do, and plus some alternative stuff, sometimes your body just does what it's going to do, and there's nothing you can do. We've all got a shelf life on the earth, and you've got to come to an acceptance of that. You can fight it all you want to the best of your ability. Cancer is undefeated. You got to remember that. Cancer is undefeated. Can you beat it? I think you can, and I think they do have a solution to it, but they don't make money curing cancer. They don't make money doing that. So things like that are undefeated. If you've got AIDS, not HIV, if you got AIDS, it's undefeated. It's undefeated. You're going to lose. We've got to look at our behaviors and stuff. I was watching YouTube down there, and there was the report on Houston, and you got a girl, black girl. I have never seen in my time on YouTube white or Asian women bragging about getting an abortion. I've never seen that. Not saying it doesn't happen. I've just never seen it. Modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. How are you letting these men into your body the way that you're doing? I mean, I'm terrified. I have a compromised immune system. My immune system is compromised. So what does that mean for me? What does that mean for me? It means a lot of things. It's almost like being a hemophiliac. It's almost like that. I'm very susceptible to catching viruses. You know, Catching a cold is not deadly, but it could be deadly. Just things. Sexual disease. Thank God, knock on wood, I've never caught anything. Being in the military, you get tested and stuff. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to be honest, because a lot of people don't want to be honest. If it wasn't for the fact that I was in the military and the military did the testings, I'm not saying if I was civilian I wouldn't do it, but it's just like when you're regimented to do stuff. A lot of people that don't have that regimen to go to the gym and do those things, they don't know any better. So like for me, being having annual physicals and things that I had to do while I was in the military, that pretty much probably saved me from really catching things. Because number one, I didn't want the embarrassment. I didn't want it in my records. I was really careful in how I engaged. And so my condition now, I got to think about that as well, which is why if I'm going to engage in things, I need to find a wife. I can't be out here in these streets. And me and the doctor were talking about things like that, in regards to my condition. She wasn't saying, oh, you got to hurry up and get married, but she's saying preventive, how are you going to do this? If you're in the streets, you've got a high vulnerability to putting yourself out there, and I'm not doing that. I'm 55. I made it this far. I plan to go all the way, okay, until I'm taken out of this place. So, again, you guys, in conclusion, spaceship on the way. Question is, are you prepared? Do you have the firepower? If they are not friendly, do you have the firepower? I know I do. I know I do. I've got the shouldered ones, okay? I am ready to go. Do you have the camping equipment? What if they rock your house? You're in an apartment and they just devastate the whole landscape. Are you equipped to go and live out off the land? Do you know how to purify water if you need to? Watch some of these aggressive space alien movies. Some of that stuff, it makes you think like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to, fight that? Can you live outside? I went to SEER school, so I could do it. I know I got a certificate that said I can do it. Do you have a certificate? got this big old Rambo knife. Inside the Rambo knife, there's fishing equipment and things, first aid kit. All that stuff is in the butt of the knife. Ladies, if you don't have those things, I would strongly recommend you better find you a U.S. Marine, a former U.S. Marine, a former Army Ranger, Navy SEAL, somebody that has some military experience that knows how to, if push comes to shove, live off the land. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. All right, you guys, I'm Donovan Sadiq. Benny, the big-headed pity, is right here. And he is getting better every day. He's still bad. He still wants to do his own thing, but he's getting into a routine to where he realizes this is his reality. I take him in the evening time, and he loves to chase a ball. He can chase the hell out of a ball, and he'll bring it back. He's pretty good. I mean, he be all the military men are taken. Go to the VFW. You got the old players in there. You can get a Coke and a hamburger for $6 on Thursday nights. But he got Glotadine at the house, so you got to kind of work that out. but again, in all seriousness, even if this ain't a spacecraft, are you prepared to defend your family? He said, I'm going. The VFW. There's a VFW right there. Go to Ellington Field. There's a little club on Ellington Field for the Air National Guard. But there should be a bunch of VFWs there in Houston. There should be a bunch of them. So a lot of veterans down there. A lot of vets. VFW. Veterans of Foreign Wars. All right, you guys. Let me get out of here. April, great talking to you. Don't forget to tune in to the Demetra K Show Sundays. 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, where you're at. Demetra is right there in Houston. Also, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. A lot of stuff is going on. In Ghana, they are telling the Nigerians, get the hell out. Because the Nigerians are talking all that yin-yang like they're doing here. And the Ghanans are saying, get the hell out of here. You're getting them out. Sundays, 5 p.m. Yep, Sundays at 5 p.m. That's the Demetra K Show. So the African Diaspora News Channel app, get it on Google Play, Apple Store. A lot of stuff going on in the African diaspora. Don't forget about it. You guys be safe, be blessed, drink plenty of water. Yeah, that's another reason why the Ghanans want them out of there. There's too much scamming, and they're setting up businesses there that Ghanaians should be setting up. And they're taking that money, and they're sending it back to the homeland. Kind of the same problem we're having here. Isn't that interesting? We'll talk about that more later. All right, you guys, have a great day. I'll talk to you later.